back to my educational channel, Middle School Math. Today we have a new lesson which is also related to ratio, which is called Ratio Among Three Numbers. So we are continuing in grade 6 and we have taken 4 ratio videos. I'm going to leave links for these videos in the description box below. We have taken the meaning of ratio, have taken properties of ratio part 1, properties of ratio part 2, and we have taken miscellaneous exercises on ratio and its properties. Today, hopefully it's gonna be like we are gonna have 2 more ratio videos and then we're gonna be done with the ratio. So here we have ratio among 3 numbers. So we need to, like, I have here a simple example for you guys so we can understand what are we gonna talk about today. So we have always talking about ratio among two numbers, not 3 numbers. Today we're gonna talk about ratio among 3 numbers. So if Ahmed's height is 180 centimeters, so Ahmed's height is 180 centimeters, and Surah's height is 160 centimeters. So now we have two people here, 2 persons that we are gonna compare the ratios, which the first person is Ahmed and the second person is Surah, and we have another third person here who is Kareem. So Kareem's height is 120 centimeters. So then you can find the ratio among their 3 heights. So here, as you can notice, it said here the ratio among their heights as follows. So here we have 3 ratios that we're going to deal with. Number 1 is Ahmed's height. Number 2 is Surah's height. Number 3 is Kareem's height. So we know that when we figure out a ratio, we have 2 terms that are really important. We have the antecedent and the consequent. The antecedent is the first term, which is the top term. So as you can see here, so like if we have 3 over 4, so here I can say that 3 is the antecedent and 4 is the consequent, and this means that the antecedent is the first term. So the antecedent is the first term of the ratio and the consequent is the second term of the ratio. So the antecedent here, which is the first term, which is the first thing that appeared to us, is Ahmed's height, which is 180. So as you can see here, 180 centimeters is our antecedent. And the second term here is Sarah's height. And as you can see, Sarah's height here is 160 centimeters. So 160 is the consequent. But what category does 120 centimeters of Kareem's height belong to? So it doesn't have a specific category because when we compare 3 ratios, we don't go by the antecedent or consequent. We just go by the 3 terms in order. The first one comes first, the second one comes second, and the third one comes third. Hopefully we want to have 4, but if you just have 4, you are going to put the 4th term in the 4th place. So to solve this, we are going to first start by Ahmed's height. So we're going to write the title. I call it a title, which is Ahmed's height here, which is the first term. And then we're going to write Sarah's height, which is, as you can see here, the second term. Sarah's height. And then we are going to have Kareem's height. So Kareem's height here, sorry, let me erase this. So we have Kareem's height here. So we put the first, which is Ahmed's height, the second, which is Sarah's height, and the third, which is Kareem's height. So, and don't forget that we have the 2 sign between each 2 of the terms, titles. So we have the 2 signs. So this means Ahmed to Sarah. So Ahmed's height to Sarah's height to Kareem's height, which is the same as Ahmed's height to Kareem's height to Sarah's height, which is also the same to Kareem's height to Sarah's height to Ahmed's height. It doesn't matter the order here. What I mean by the order doesn't matter because each one, since each number that belongs to each term or each person here will be under that person's title, so this means that it doesn't matter the order. So if you put Kareem's height first and Ahmed's last, it won't matter since we have the 180, 18, and 9 under Ahmed, and 120, 12, and 6 under Kareem. This means that the order here doesn't matter if we have the numbers that belong to each term under the title of the term. So as you can see here, so Ahmed's height, he has told us that it is 180, so we'll put 180. To Sarah's height, which is 160. To Kareem's height, which is 120. Awesome. So now, are these three numbers here in the simplest form? No, they aren't in their simplest form. So we're going to divide them by 10. So when we divided 180 by 10, it became 18. 160 divided by 10 is 16. And 120 divided by 10 is 12. So 18, 16, and 12 are all divisible by 2 because they all have an even number in their units digits. So 18 divided by 2 is 9, 16 divided by 2 is 8, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. So 9, 8, and 6 doesn't have anything in common. They aren't divisible by the same number. So this means that we have these terms here in the simplest form. So we can say that the ratio between Ahmed's weight to Sarah's weight to Kareem's weight is 9 to 8 to 6. And you will notice that we didn't write in the beginning here 180 centimeters, 160 centimeters, and 120 centimeters. Why? Because we have discussed in one of the past videos that when we have a unit, like here we have a weight unit, which we have here a height unit, sorry, which is the centimeter. We don't write the unit. We just write the number. So, and we have now figured out the ratio between their three heights, which is 9 to 8 to 6. Thus, the ratio among their heights is 9 to 8 to 6. So, example number 1 and number 2. So, here's example number 1. So, 36 to 48 to 84. So, here we're going to put the three numbers, 36 to 48 to 84. We are going to start simplifying them. So they are all divisible by 4. So we're going to divide by 4. So 36 divided by 4 is 9. 48 divided by 4 is 12. And 21 divided by 4 is 84 divided by 4 is 21. Then there are still the numbers 9, 12, and 21 are still divisible by one number, which is 3. So we're going to divide them by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And 21 divided by 3 is 7. So now we have reached the simplest form. 3, 4, 4, and 7 doesn't have a number that is in common. So the simplest form of this is going to be 3 to 4 to 7. So here we have example number 2, which says 1.25 to 5 to 1.5. This is kind of a little bit tricky because we have decimals here. We don't have whole numbers like 36, 48, and 84. So what we're going to do here is that we are going to turn these decimals to whole numbers because whole numbers are easier to deal with than decimals. So to turn on 1.25 and 1.5 to a whole number, we are going to multiply them by 100, sorry. So 1.25 divided by 100, it's going to be 125. 5 times 100 is going to be 500, and 1.5 times 100 is going to be 150. Now we don't have a problem because we have the three terms here are all whole numbers, easy to deal with. So we can notice that all the three terms here, 125 to 500 and 150, are divisible by 5. So 125 divided by 5 is 25, 500 divided by 5 is 100, and 150 divided by 5 is 30. So now 25, 100, and 30 still aren't simplified to their simplest form because they are still all divisible by 5. So 25 divided by 5 is 5, 100 divided by 5 is 20, and 30 divided by 5 is 6. So is 6, 20, and 5 divisible by one number? No, they aren't. As you can see, 5 is a prime number, so they aren't divisible by any other numbers. So 5 to 20 to 6 is the simplest form of this ratio here, 1.25 to 5 to 1.5. So what we have learned here is that when we have decimals, we are going to convert them to a whole number. And to convert decimals to whole numbers, we have learned before that we multiply them by a 10-based number, like a 10, 100, 1,000, related to the number of digits after the decimal. So when we have 2 digits after the decimal, we're going to multiply by 100. When we have 3, we're going to multiply by 1,000, and so on and so forth. So example number 3. So the only way to master the technique of solving three ratio terms is solving a lot of examples. So let's do this example over here. Example number 3 says, the ratio of money that Kareem has to Mina to Ahmed. So what did we notice here, guys? We noticed that we have 3 terms, 3 people to deal with. So we have Kareem, we have Mina, and Ahmed. We are going to compare these 3 people ratios to each other. And as you can see, he has gave us the ratio 2. That's amazing. So it is 12 to 15 to 25. But he didn't say who belongs to who. Like, he didn't say the 12 belongs to who, to which person. So we don't know, does the 12 belong to Kareem, Mina, or Ahmed? Does the 15 belong to Kareem, Mina, or Ahmed? Does 25 belong to Kareem, Mina, or Ahmed? So the thing is, we're going to go by the concept of the ordering is very important. So the first term goes by the first person. So Kareem is going to go by 12 because Kareem came first and 12 came first. 15 came second and Mina came second, so Mina and 15 are related. 25 came third and Ahmed came third. This means that 25 belongs to Ahmed. So if Ahmed has, so here it says if Ahmed has $600. Find the money that each of Kareem and Mina has. Okay, this is nice. So he has gave us the number of money that Ahmed has. And he now wants us to find the number of money that Kareem and Mina has using the ratio that he has just gave us. So let's see how to do this. So here, as you can see, it says the value of one part will equal 600 when it's divided by 25. So the technique here that we're going to use is finding just one part. So we have discussed before, go watch the videos because you want to understand this. If you haven't just watched the other videos about the ratio, I'm going to leave the links in the description box below. So 12 belongs to Kareem. This means Kareem has 12 parts. 15 belongs to Mina. This means that Mina has 15 parts. And 25 belongs to Ahmed. This means that Ahmed has 25 parts. So we know that Ahmed has 25 parts, right? And also we know that he has $600. So we're going to divide his $600 here by the 25 which each part has. So we know that one part will equal 25. So we're going to divide the 600 parts of money that Ahmed has to the 25 which each part has, and it's going to equal $24. So now we know that the value of one part here will equal $24. So what Kareem has will equal, Kareem has 12 parts. So we're going to get the 12 parts of Kareem and multiply them by the 24, which we have just found out, which is the value of one part times 24 is going to be $288. And Mina, we know that she has 15 parts, so we're going to multiply her 15 parts to the 24, which we have figured out the value of one part, which was going to equal $360. So we now know that the Kareem, we know that Ahmed has $600, and we have figured out that Kareem has $288 and Mina has $360. Also, we can solve this problem using the other technique of putting the 3 terms titles, and between each title and the other there is a 2 sign, and under each title the number of the ratio that he have just gave us. So example number 4. So example number 4 here says the sum of 3 numbers. So let's use the highlighter here. So the sum of 3 numbers. So this means we have 3 numbers to deal with here. The sum of 3 numbers is 56. This actually is one of the kind of hard word problems because people get confused. So the sum of 3 numbers is 56, and the ratio among them is 2 to 1 to 5. Find each of these numbers. So we need to find the 3 numbers, each one of these 3 numbers. So we know that we have 3 numbers, and we know that the sum of these 3 numbers is 56. So this means here that we can say that the sum of the parts is 2 plus 1 plus 5 equals 8, because we know that that one of the numbers has 2 parts, and the other has 1 part, and the other has 5 parts. This means that the sum of their parts is going to be 2 plus 1 plus 5, which is going to be 8 parts. And the value of one part, sorry, let me erase this. So the value of one part will equal. So we know that the sum of the parts is 56, right? And we know that the sum of the numbers, sorry, is 56, and we know that the sum of the parts is 8. So we're gonna divide 56 by 8, which is gonna equal 7. So this means that the value of just one part is gonna equal 7. Amazing. So the first number will equal. So the first number has 2 parts. So we're gonna multiply the 2 parts of this number by the 7, which is the value of one part, is gonna be 14 parts. We know that the second number has 2 parts. Has 1 part. So we're gonna multiply its 1 part by the value of 1 part, which is 7, is gonna give us 7. We know that the third number has 5 parts. This means that we're going to multiply the 5 parts of this number by the value of 1 part, which is 7, which is going to give us 35. So now we know that the first number is 14, the second number is 7, and the third number is 35. And to make sure that your answer is correct, we're going to put the 3 terms beside each other. So we're going to put the first term, which is 14, that we have just figured out, to 7, the second term, to 35, which is the third term. And now if we simplify this, ratio over here, it should equal 2 to 1 to 5. This here now shows that we're correct. Also, if we add these 3 terms here, so if we added 14 to 7 and added 7 to 35, it should equal 56 at the end. This is how I check my answer and know that my answer is absolutely correct. So example number 5 is the last example we have here today. So this example says the ratio of the weights. So here we are going to deal with weight units of 3 persons. We have here 3 ratios. Is 8 to 5 to 6. So we know that the ratio of the weights of 3 persons is 8 to 5 to 6. First of all, we are going to analyze this, and we know that the first person is going to have 8 parts, the second person is going to have 5 parts, and the third person is going to have 6 parts. So if the difference, this is very important, we have discussed this in the past video, when we have a difference, this means that we're going to subtract. So when we have a difference, this means that we are going to absolutely subtract. So if the difference between the weights of the first one to the third one, this one is very tricky, is 24 kilograms. So find the weight of each of them. So here we have a really cool chart that's going to help us to do this. So we have the first person here, to the second person here, to the third person here. But the thing is, we don't know any of the weights. Like in the past questions, we know one of the person's money that they have, the amount of money that they have, we know their height, we know their weight, but we don't know anything about any of these people. We need to know the weight of each one of them. So we don't know any weight of any one of them. So, but he has told us that we are dealing with a difference. So we are going to add to the 3 terms the word difference. If he has told us a sum, we are going to add the word sum instead of difference, but he hasn't told us a sum, he has told us a difference. So let me erase the word sum. Okay. So here we are dealing with the first person, this is the second person, to the third person, to the difference. We don't have names here, so we call them first person, second person, third person, to the difference. So the first person has 8 parts, the second person has 5, the third person has 6, and the difference is what? So we are going to just subtract the 3 terms. So 8 minus 5 is 3, 3 minus 6, we need to find the difference. And here we are going to define the difference, not between the 3, because we are here. He told us that the difference between the first one to the third one is 24. So we're going to find the difference between the parts of the first one to the parts of the third one. So the parts of the first one is 8, the parts of the third one is 6. So we're going to subtract the first person from the third person from the first person, so it's going to be 8 minus 6, which is going to be 2. So we have now we know that the first person has 8 parts, the second person has 5 parts, and the third person has 6 parts, and the difference has 2 parts. Cool. So we have a question mark under the first person because we don't know their weight yet. With the second person, the same thing. The third person, the same thing. But do we know the difference? Andy has told us that the difference is 24. Amazing. So we have put the difference. So now we have discussed this, how to solve this in the past video. So we're gonna cross multiply here. So 8 times 24, and then 24, the result is gonna be divided by 2. The same with the second, the same with the third. So the first person's weight is gonna be 8 times 24 divided by 2, which is gonna be 96 kilograms. The second person weight is gonna be 5 times 24 divided by 2, is gonna be 60 kilograms. The third person's weight is going to be 6 times 24 divided by 2, which is going to be 72 kilograms. And to make sure, we are going to add this, we are going to subtract the first one from the third one, which is 96 kilograms minus 72 kilograms. It's going to give us 24 kilograms. This means that we are correct. So we have reached the end of this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.